You are listening to Audio SSLC, your audio medium for easy understanding and revision. To download a copy of this recording, please visit audiosslc.com. Supplementary Reading 4. The Bird of Happiness, a Tibetan Folk Tale. All of us want to be happy, don't we? But how can we be happy? Is it by acquiring money, power, or wealth? Or is it by living in tune with nature? Can you give some examples to prove your point? Discuss and fill in the following chart. Clues are given in each box. Now, here is a folktale which illustrates how one can be happy. Read the text. 1. In ancient days, there was a very poor area in Tibet which had no rivers or good land, no warmth or fresh flowers, no trees or green grass. The people who lived there suffered from hunger and cold all year round and did not know what happiness was like. Despite this, they still believed that happiness must exist somewhere in the world. 2. The old folk used to say that happiness was a beautiful bird living on a snowy mountain, far, far away in the east. Wherever the bird flew, happiness went with it. Every year, people went to look for this bird, but not one of them did ever return. The bird of happiness was said to be guarded by 3 old monsters who could kill a man by simply blowing through their long beards. 3. Once an extremely bright boy called Wang Jia was sent to find the bird of happiness. On his departure, the girls of the village offered him barley wine, and the mothers, in accordance with Tibetan custom, spread barley grains on his head to wish him a good journey. 4. Wang Jia walked eastwards for many days until he saw ahead of him a large mountain covered with snow that shone like silver. Just at that moment, an old monster with a black beard appeared in his path. 5. Who goes there? He cried like a crow. How dare you come here? What are you after? 6. My name is Wang Jia, and I have come to look for the bird of happiness. 7. Ha ha, laughed the old monster. How could a little child like you, no longer than an egg, dare to set foot here? If you want to find the bird of happiness, first you must kill Lu Zhang's mother. Otherwise, you'll be punished. I don't need to do anything myself in order to kill a puny little thing like you. I'll just make you walk 900 miles across Cree and you'll be done for. 8. Wang Jia replied, I love my own mother and I'll never kill another person's. Do as you please. The old monster flew into a rage. He immediately began to blow through his beard, and in the twinkling of an eye, the smooth road became a vast scree. Every stone on it was as sharp as a knife. 9. After the first 100 miles, the soles of Wang Jia's boots were ripped apart by the stones. After the second 100 miles, his feet were cut to pieces, and after the third 100 miles, his hands were torn to shreds. Read on. 10. This is tough going, he thought to himself. Will I ever make it? Had I better turn back now? No, never. He could not bring himself to turn back. He knew that the people at home were waiting for him to bring back happiness. 11. Wang Jia lay on the ground and began to crawl forward. His clothes were torn. His knees and shoulders were bruised. Finally, he reached the end of his journey, and there he found another old monster with a brown beard and a voice like the whistling wind, waiting for him. 12. If you want to see the bird of happiness, howled the monster, you must poison old Gaffer Silong first. If you won't do it, I'll starve you to death. 13. Looking him defiantly in the face, Wang Jia replied, You can shout for all you are worth, but I'm fond of my own grandpa, and I'll never kill another man's. 14. In a fury, the old monster blew through his long beard, and Wang Jia's bread bag flew into the sky. Before his eyes, the blue mountains and green rivers were turned into a boundless desert with not a scrap of food to be found. 15. Wang Jia set off again. After the first 100 miles, his stomach began rumbling with hunger. After the second 100 miles, he was so hungry that his head swam and he began to see stars. After the third 100 miles, he was so hungry that there was a sharp pain in his guts as if they were being cut by a knife. Anyone who has ever starved knows what he suffered. Wang Jia went to a river, drank plenty of cold water, and continued on his way. By the time he reached his journey's end, he was nothing but skin and bone. Read on. 16. There in his path stood another old monster with a white beard. 17. What reckless fool has dared to come here? He thundered. 18. My name is Wang Jia, and I have come here to look for the bird of happiness. 19. If you want to see the bird of happiness, you must bring me Bhima's eyeballs. If you dare to say no, I'll gouge out your eyeballs at once. 20. Wang Jia bowed his head and thought for a while. Then he answered, You must be dreaming. No one has the right to destroy a girl's pretty eyes. I'll never gouge Bhima's eyes. 21. The old monster screamed with rage. He immediately began to blow through his long beard, and Wang Jia's eyeballs jumped out of their sockets, and he became blind. 22. This must be the last ordeal, he thought. I must keep going in the direction of the rising sun. That must be the place where the bird of happiness lives. 23. Groping his way with his hands on the ground, Wang Jia crawled another 900 miles. He clambered to the peak of a snow-covered mountain, and there he heard the voice of the bird of happiness. 24. My lovely child, have you come here for me? 25. Overwhelmed with joy, Wang Jia replied, Yes, I have. My people long to see you day and night. Please come back with me. 26. The bird of happiness caressed Wang Jia gently with his wings and sang for him. His eyeballs flew back to their sockets, and now he saw much more brightly than before. All his wounds were healed, and he was stronger than ever. The bird of happiness offered Wang Jia some dried meat and cream cake, and then bore him back to his home village. They landed on a mountain top. 27. What is it that you want? Asked the bird of happiness. 28. Wang Jia replied, We want warmth and happiness, forests and flowers, fields and rivers. 29. Standing on the mountain top, the bird of happiness gave 3 loud cries. At the first cry, the golden sun broke through the clouds, and a warm breeze came down from the sky. At the second cry, stretch upon stretch of forest appeared all over the mountains. Mountain peach and other mountain flowers bloomed together, and thrushes and larks led a chorus of bird song. At the third cry, green rivers and fields came into view, and little white rabbits danced merrily on the grass. 30. From that day on, the people in that poor place never suffered hardships again. Meanings: despite, in spite of, puny, small, rage, anger, will be done for, will be dead, ripped apart, pulled apart, departure, leaving, scree, an area of small loose stones, especially on a mountain, sole, the bottom surface of the foot, shreds, thin torn pieces. Will I ever make it? Can I succeed? Crawl, move slowly. Old gaffer, old man in charge. defiantly, refusing to obey, rumbling with hunger, feeling very hungry, set off, start, howled, cried like a wolf, boundless, having no limit, Silong, a Tibetan whom the first monster hated, old Gaffer Silong, an enemy of the second monster. Not a scrap of food, not a bit of food. Bruised, hurt, head swam, felt as if everything was spinning around. Reckless, unmindful of risk. Gouge out, to force out the eye of a person with one's thumb. Ordeal, suffering. Overwhelmed, filled with strong emotion. Caressed, touched gently with love. Bhima, a girl's name. At once, with no loss of time. Clambered, climbed up. Groping, moving as if in the dark. To set foot, to enter into some place. Mountain peach, mountain fruit. Lark, a kind of bird.